Welcome to Work the Left Side. Obviously, it's a wrestling show, but not this time. It's a comic book show with wrestlers. So, obviously, this is the second time we've done this. Thoroughly enjoyed episode 1. So, I've managed to sweet talk these 3 lovely gentlemen into coming on and just talking comic books with me for an hour. So, gentlemen, how are we all? Alex, Brad, Mr. Valour?
All good?
Yeah, all good here. All good.
Awesome.
Yeah, can't complain. Dealing with hotel Wi-Fi, but otherwise all good, man.
Well, if you vanish, we'll just leave them a bad review on Yelp or something. It's not an issue. We'll teach them to have shoddy Wi-Fi. Obviously, as with the first episode, it's comic books. Obviously, I'm always intrigued to talk to other people just because it's always fun, pick people's brains, talk about shit that we know. And as I said off camera, for me to learn stuff as well, shit that I don't know about, talking to someone about it, hearing them get excited about it makes me want to go check it out. So I'm always curious as to, what other people are reading, what other people are watching, comic book related. So, first of all, take your pick. I'm not going to be a head teacher and ask people to speak in order, but if anybody wants to shout out, what got you into comic books in the first place, or comic book stuff in the first place?
I think it was just a case of like the story arc for me. Like, you get some amazing comics. For me, obviously, top notch is always going to be Batman. Like, so much so I've tattooed my shins with him. But you can't be like The Killing Joke. You can't be Nightfall. You can't be pretty much anything that Batman's in. Hush. I'm looking at everything I've got around me at the moment in time, it's mainly Batman stuff. But just something that you kind of latch onto in terms of a character, and like, it's not all goody two shoes Superman type stuff. Oh, I'm the hero. I like the grittiness. I like that it's not
not black and white.
Yeah, exactly.
Long Halloween. That's got to be obviously mentioned beforehand. I think it got brought up in the last episode. That, for me personally, I know for a few people, that's like the peak of the Batman. There's a lot of good stories, but if I had to pick one just to read over and over again, I think, Long Halloween would be my selection.
It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. For me,
go on, man.
Sorry, bro. For me, it'd have to be Killing Joke, just because it's iconic and it's just fantastic.
It's short though. I like Killing Joke, don't get me wrong. So it's definitely a quality over quantity kind of thing. But I just love the length of Long Halloween and the twists and it's just an amazing who did it. It doesn't even have to be a comic book. In fairness, it would work on any level. It's just a great murder mystery story that happens to have Batman in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've grown up watching a hell of a lot of Batman and like reading it as well, but I always, if anything, tended to prefer the ones that kind of dialed it back and went more to like the detective route than anything. So like Gotham by Gaslight, I thought was really cool as well. So it's like the Batman trying to catch Jack the Ripper, and it's not really about like the superhero per se. It's more he is just a detective in it almost, which I think is interesting because it's quite easy to just focus on the ridiculous powers, but I think it's that thing of suspending your disbelief. But when he's more like a normal guy, it's easier to kind of relate with almost.
Yeah, man. And I think I could say that's why. I mean, Killing Joke, don't get me wrong, I love Killing Joke. That's more of a Joker book for me than a Batman book, if that makes sense, because that's just like, it's just Joker takes center stage in that. And it's slightly tainted for me now after the after the animated film. I'm reading that book and all I can think about is Batman doinking Batgirl. I'm sorry, why you just ruined it for me?
Yeah. They've done some awesome movies and they've done some absolute shit.
Yeah. So, but I think, as Alex said, with the Batman thing, I think that's why The Dark Knight, was such a success, because that film worked on such a level where it didn't just feel like a superhero film. It was like a gangster film. It was like, it was just cops and robbers kind of thing with Batman in it.
I think, yeah, I mean,
And it didn't have bat nipples.
Nah. I will stand on that bridge that the bat nipples are the greatest thing in cinema history. I'm very much like I'm not the biggest comic reader. I'm not the strongest reader, so I can't really engross myself in like a comic. But I'm very much like the cinema side of things. That's like my real house sort of thing. And yeah, there's definitely some awful Batman movies. But I kind of like how bright they made some of the earlier Batmans, because I'm like, it's just so like the contrast of quite dark to light. And then you look at it now, where not quite the newest Batman. I'm not too much of a fan of the whole DC universe, to be honest. But the Dark Knight trilogy as a whole, I think, it's just so good. Like, it's so, as you say, it's just so gritty and like quite gangster, and it's not overly like, oh my god, look how strong Bane is chucking like stuff through buildings and stuff. It is literally just a guy that's a bit jacked up. So I quite like the realism of that, and I think that's one of the strongest points of Batman, is that it's quite real at times. It's not got too much, like, compared to Marvel, where they've got a lot of that. I think DC works really well when it sort of strays from that path, and it has that sort of, we're really dark, we're really gritty, but it's real.
Yeah, that's kind of like what DC latched onto. They kind of saw what Marvel were doing and thinking, right, if we want to be different, we need to go. Which they've now gone the other way with like Aquaman and Flash and stuff. They've gone more light, so they've kind of, it's just, I like I say Batman Begins was still the best out of the three for me. That's a hill I will die on. Begins. Dark Knight was great. Ledger was boss. It was just very rushed at the end. And in the third film, Batman retires. That sucks.
I think it's nice though. It sort of encapsulates the whole thing. Like, this is its own little pocket universe. It doesn't link with anything else. Here's the beginning. Here's the end. Here's the middle. Done. Perfect.
It's a take on it, definitely. So, but yeah, obviously Batman's going to be, I think that's, everybody's, whenever you mention comic books, what kind of characters do you like? Batman's always going to be in everybody's top 5. He's just one of those characters you kind of, no matter how old you are, there's always some sort of point of reference for Batman to get you into, whether it was like late 80s, it was the Tim Burton film. In the 90s, it was the animated series. Sort of early noughties, it was the Batman Beyond. There's always something Batman related out to get your attention.
Are we all kind of in agreement that like Aquaman is the worst? Is that just me?
No.
Unpopular opinion?
Don't be slandering Jason Momoa. I fucking love that man.
I get I haven't really watched like the Aquaman films, but I get the meme behind he just loves fish so much. Like, it's like in Peacemaker, like that was the running joke through the whole thing whenever he was mentioned, and I just think I like when they sort of take down the stereotypes and sort of add that little bit of like humor into it, where it's like, it's just a guy that like has the power of water and sea animals and stuff.
That's the thing is, though, I mean, obviously, in the comic books, he's lame. And potentially the power's there, what I mean? But he's just, he's the fish guy. And God bless DC, casting Jason Momoa, one of the coolest guys on the planet. It's like, if anyone's going to make Aquaman cool, Big J's going to do it. And it just didn't work.
To be fair, though, if you read, like, the New 52, when DC tried to relaunch the universe, what was it, probably about 10 years ago now, which is bleak. But I had some of the Aquaman New 52 stuff, and there's like this really cool scene where this guy's giving Mira a load of shit, and he's like, you're not near the water. And she basically, because she can manipulate water and draw it out of people, she starts like dehydrating him and is like, why is it all humans think that water is our weakness when actually it's yours?
That's brutal. That's like, wow.
So they did try their hardest. Like, I mean, they went a bit stupid at times, like the Justice League Unlimited when they gave him, like, you know, the hook through a hand and things like that. I feel like they kind of knew he was the butt of the joke, so they tried to go more serious, and it just kind of made it funnier for a long period of time.
Yeah, not only can you just talk to fish, you can't even wipe your ass, mate. You just go away. Yes.
Pretty much.
It's just, yeah, I think the potential's there. He's just everybody needs a butt of a joke, and Aquaman's always that guy. I don't know. I like him sometimes, but no, I think we'll. He's never going to be in anyone's top 5. We'll just say that. You know, you're never going to go Batman, Spawn, Hellboy, Constantine, Aquaman.
Sounds like a hell of a list there.
Except for Aquaman. But yeah, I mean, Brad, after mentioned earlier the Batman Beyond. You've just recently bought all those again.
Yeah, so I've got it on Blu-ray as well, but I kind of realised now that like going away to different, like working away and that Prime has become my best friend. So Prime has added all of the Batman animated series, including the seasons that Netflix doesn't actually have access to, which was a really nice surprise to me the other week. And then Batman Beyond was on sale on Prime for like $5 a season. So I bought that, and honestly, I kind of like, that was more so the one that I grew up watching to an extent, because I was born 97. So I was kind of like, Batman the animated series was already gone by the time that I got into all that kind of stuff. So Batman Beyond was really the first one that I remember properly watching on TV.
That's it. Have all 3 of you guys seen the new Flash film?
No, I've not. No.
Shit.
I haven't watched it. I decided I read a lot of non-spoiler reviews when the films come out, so I can sort of gauge what it's about and if it's worth my money. I read the reviews, watched trailers, which they pretty much in the screenshots in the footage that was released, pretty much showed everything. Anyway, I kind of like the throwback with the Batman, but the rest of it just seems so daft. Like, everyone loves cameos. Everyone fucking loves surprises and cameos. Like, no matter who you are, you'll love it when you see someone you recognize. But I think they just relied on that far too much. I think there's a bit where because there were rumors that they were going to cast Nick Cage as Superman, so then they put him in one of these like multiverse things, and I'm like, that's pretty cool, but how many people are going to get the reference? Yeah.
On one hand, you could probably count it. Yeah, some people might know, obviously, the Kevin Smith Superman scripts. They wanted Nick Cage involved. Tim Burton came in. I think Kevin Smith fans would know, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But I mentioned it because of
yeah, go on. My partner took me to go watch The Flash because because I love Justice League Unlimited. I mean, I am one of them weird ones who actually prefers Wally West to Barry Allen, because that was kind of the Flash that I grew out of it, and she's not into comics at all. It's very much my thing. She's kind of watched the Dark Knight films and some of the Marvel, but that's like about it. And the Flash movie just relied on, I think, people just knowing things without them explaining it. So like, I came out and I was talking to her about the Speed Force, and she went, "What the hell is that?" And I was like, "Yeah, they didn't do a good job of explaining. Like, just he runs very, very quick was all that really they kind of conveyed in it."
Yeah, it's a thin line, because obviously, we all know, we've all seen enough stuff or read enough stuff that we kind of know the characters, and it's a very thin line between patronizing the target fans, but then not informing the newbies as to what's going on, kind of thing. I think it's very tricky for a lot of films to find that balance where you don't want to spoon feed stuff to people who already know what's going on, but then you don't want other people to feel alienated. And that for me is just comic book films suffer from that a lot.
Yeah, you've got to do it from every.
Go on, Valour.
Sorry, Axel. Sorry, man. You've kind of got to go at it from every angle, really. And you've got to try to appeal to the guys that's never seen or read a comic book about these superheroes, and then you've got to also cater it to the diehards as well. And you never please everybody about it. So,
but the reason I mentioned the Flash thing obviously was, as Alex mentioned, Michael Keaton. I've talked for a long time. We mentioned Batman Beyond. For me, that's screaming out to be a live action film. I know we talked about it before, like Brad, where Keaton is at that perfect age now where he could have played Bruce Wayne in a Batman Beyond live action film.
That'd be sick.
It's because it's the same principle in it, but a different twist on it. Like Neo Gotham, I think now that CGI and the set building that they can do now has come to where it is. Like, let's be fair, if we'd have got this film maybe 10 years ago, it probably would have been shit. But now things have kind of moved on to the point where like even the Batsuit, that Batsuit for me is one of the iconic ones. Like I remember playing Arkham, I think it was Arkham City. And one of the DLCs was you could get the Batsuit, with the red wings that came out underneath your arms. And I was like, you couldn't get the rocket boots, which I was very disappointed about. But otherwise, like I played in that suit the whole game because I just loved it.
Yeah, I say the potential is there now. And it's just like, okay, it'd be awesome. And given James Gunn, I think Gunn will actually be able to smash it, like you sort of said, with the brightness, with the sort of neon punk cities, clothes, just the vibe. If we're ever going to do it, we've got to do it now with Gunn kind of at the helm.
Yeah, I mean, look what Gunn's done for Guardians. Guardians is like, for me, one of the best Marvel films that they brought out, like all three of them. And like the same again, it's like with Peacemaker as well. That's all Gunn. I think he just gets it. And I definitely think very much a sort of a Batman that's not out of space, but that sort of similar sort of lines that crosses with Guardians in sort of set design and stuff. I feel like he's definitely the one to do it if he's going to do it.
No, I fully agree. I was kind of made me laugh in Guardians 3 and Adam's flying around. I was kind of watching it and being like, he's just testing the water here for Superman. He's just testing out like the flight patterns and just imagining like take him out of the picture and put Superman in there. And that's, yeah. And obviously the second Suicide Squad film was substantially more pleasing than the first one.
That's not large clear though, is it?
It was I enjoyed the second. I wasn't so much of a fan of the first one.
Don't think anyone was.
No. But then like it's very long. For me at the minute, I can't do long films at the minute. They just like I forget what's happened at the start, to be honest. Like I forgot at the start of that film, it was like teasing you all, sort of fucking edging you all, going, "Oh, they've just this is the new Suicide Squad," and then like it's just like, "Oh no, the real one's here." Like I forgot at the end of the film that's how it started.
That is, I think that's a vibe of a lot of films. They're just making them too. If it's under 2 hours, perfect. If a comic book film goes, there's the exception, obviously, of like Endgames or Infinity War and stuff. That's got to be long. I get that, but most films can be under 2 hours and just be.
This has been my thing with like Zack Snyder. Everyone says like, "Oh, he's a great director." Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed like the Snyder cuts, but I'm like, are you that good a director if you can't make a film unless it's 4 hours? Like Batman versus Superman wasn't good, but also I always got the impression it was edited really weirdly because it just kind of seemed to jump around at points. And then I know everyone says like, "Oh, you watch the Snyder cut and it's a lot better," and I'm like, great. So I've got to sit through 4 hours to watch this fucking film now, have
I totally on that, but like it's like they're trying to fit so much in. But if you're that good at directing, surely, like you say, you should be able to trim this down to get the points across, and not make it 4 hours long where there's just bits of just like, oh, they're just talking about stuff. For like half an hour, and you're like, what? You surely could have cut this dialogue down to 10 minutes.
That Snyder peaked for me with Dawn of the Dead. Watchmen. Sorry, no, Watchmen was his greatest film.
Watchmen were fantastic.
Yeah,
it is also very long though, isn't it? Which kind of backs up the previous point.
Yeah,
it is long. Yeah. It is awesome.
I feel like this call is very sort of DC heavy in sort of fan wise. I know Valour is very DC heavy, but like I kind of like what is it? Is it Mortal Kombat that they brought them all in?
Yes, there's like the game on it.
Yeah,
like the Injustice template. They did it with the Mortal Kombat, and yeah, it was like a crossover.
So I thought that was cool, and the fact that you've got turtles in that as well. I just want to see like the turtles kicking shit out of Batman for a bit. I think that'd be fucking great.
They do have
an animated film.
Nah, live action, brother. Live action. Just chucking a load of terrapins at Batman. Let's get it going.
We have the 1990s version of the Turtles where there's just dudes in suits and just doing quads. I want that. Give me that.
Just Kevin Nash with no quads chasing after Batman.
Absolutely. That's all I need.
And that's the wrestling. We got it involved. There we go.
As soon as you mentioned Turtles, there's so many wrestling references. Like I said, you got Kevin Nash. Obviously, Sheamus was in the last reboots. John Cena's been in the most recent animated one. Stephen Amell as well. You've got to make that sort of wrestling connection. Was in the last reboot. Whoever does Turtles loves wrestling. That's what I'll say.
I just think like there's lots of I love, for me it's I love the crossover stuff. Like my favorite comic or graphic novel, because I've read it as the novel itself on hardback, is Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. Deadpool's like my favorite like entity. I just love him. I steal so much stuff, but like that whole book is just so good, because he's just like, oh, then there's here, and then oh, there's this thing, and then oh, it's just good. It's just so good.
Just I mean, obviously, if we're not talking DC, Deadpool was going to come up. I think it's everybody's. I mentioned the top 5 earlier. The majority of people. I know Ellis obviously was in episode 1. That he literally said he's got like a wardrobe just full of Deadpool books. Literally like a massive cup.
Or Deathstroke is the DC people.
Slade Wilson, Wade Wilson.
Yeah, love it.
They both rip off each other though, don't they? Like,
it's so
you go
good.
back through it, and it's like it's not even discreet at times. Like Quicksilver, Flash, like there is so many. I mean, Aquaman was like a rip off of Namor, I think, because I think Namor was before him. He was like one of the first ones that Marvel did.
Yeah, he was in the 40s with Submariner. Yeah. So,
but it's like I love it.
It's just Rob Liefeld. Rob Liefeld did Deathstroke before he came over to Marvel, and then obviously just completely lifted the Deathstroke character and just gave him humor. That's it, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
I feel like Deadpool was a weird one for me, because at one point he was kind of like, he was very much the comic book nerd's favorite superhero, but nobody kind of really knew who he was. And then as soon as that test footage got released for the Ryan Reynolds film, all of a sudden, like I remember in the past you couldn't see Deadpool merch anywhere, and then now it's ridiculous. It's everywhere.
I definitely think like he sort of. Well, yeah. Without that film, I don't think he would have been forgotten quite easily. You wouldn't see him around as much. Very much looking forward to the next one that's coming out, because apparently it's just full of just cameos and I just can't wait. It's going to be so. It's like the last sort of leg of the Marvel universe. Like we watched. I get confused because they're very similar. Doctor Strange, where he ends up, and then you've got Professor X and like that version.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And I was like, I love all these references, and like when I'm sat with Freaky, like she's an X-Man sort of person. She loves all the X-Men and stuff. So it's like when he watched up, and we were just watching The Office at the same time, so it was like, what's Jim doing in this film? Yeah, I just think how that whole film, because it was had a lot of horror elements as well, which is like straight up my street.
Sam Raimi directed it.
Yeah, it's just so good. It's so good, and I really enjoyed the latest Spider-Man as well, with all three of them together. It's just so good. I just love cameos and crossovers.
I think with Into Spider-Man, like you've got to like shout the Into the Spider-Verse at the moment in time, because the animation and graphics in that thing, just the graphics and animation alone are fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And then it's got a great backing track to it. It's got a great storyline to it, and it looks fucking fantastic.
Yeah,
it did multiverse before anybody else really did the multiverse to a high level, and it's obviously got Nick Cage as Spider Noir, which is
just I really liked him as well. Really liked him. Just so much like multimedia in that alone. It's just perfect.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Animated or live action, there's an argument for it to be the best Spider-Man film ever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a sucker for the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire and Will Dafoe as Goblin. I just think it's great. That's one of my favorite Spider-Mans.
Spider-Man 2 not better though? Your first one or second one kind of go?
I like the first one.
So a lot of people I know sort of like, yeah, I prefer the second just for Doc Ock. I just think, the actors in it. The only downfall with those films are Mary Jane. She's just such a wuss. I love Kirsten Dunst. I've got brought up on like Bring It On and stuff like that, and I was so hyped when she got cast as Mary Jane. And literally all she does is scream. She just annoys me.
Has anyone stayed with the third one?
We forget about that one.
Right.
Although I feel bad on Sandman, because Sandman is awesome in that film.
Yeah.
Thomas Hayden plays it so well. But you can tell, the studio just shoved Venom down Sam Raimi's throat, and he's like, right, fuck's sake, right, get him in. We'll put him in somehow. Yeah, it's just awful. But Sandman is quality in that film. Not to besmirch Sandman.
Yeah.
To be fair, emo Peter Parker is the gift that keeps on giving as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you've got it's really difficult as well, because like when they started trying to introduce Venom into the Spider-Man films, it never landed properly. Like not until they'd give it to Tom Hardy, and I feel like that's sort of giving it a little bit. Although at times, like I know I feel like just any role that Tom Hardy plays where he's not meant to be a tough motherfucker, it's just like you can't believe he's not believable, because he's just looks hard as fuck all the time.
Yeah. What is it with Sony and trying to make bad guys good guys? They've done it with Morbius. They've got a Kraven the Hunter film coming out. They've done it with Venom. It's just like baddies are baddies. Just let them be twats.
To be fair, Venom though is a difficult one, because have you ever seen the Agent Venom stuff?
Yes, Flash Thompson.
Yeah, so when Flash Thompson takes over, Venom does transition, and even Eddie, like Lethal Protection, where it is more like that anti-hero kind of thing. So I didn't necessarily mind it with Tom Hardy in the Venom movies, because there is like previous source material there. It's the Kraven and I mean, I know Morbius is kind of like a tortured character and everything. I'm just want to start a petition that Jared Leto should not be allowed near superhero movies anymore, personally.
I second that one, man. Like, watching the Spider-Man anime from like the 90s, like Kraven the Hunter was a badass in it. Morbius was a badass in it. So I'm really hoping that they don't screw up the new Kraven film. Because the Morbius, I love Morbius. I love him as a character. I love his story arc. But that film was shite.
Do you know who's playing Kraven in the new? Have you seen who's playing Kraven?
Say that again.
Kick-Ass.
Yeah, Kick-Ass and Quicksilver. So good, isn't it?
I mean, I feel like he's going to do all right, potentially. It's just what direction they go, because Sony just seem to be trying to clam on and grab anything that Marvel might have interest in and just go, nah, we're going to just put it out there. And then it's like, I saw a really like an interview, like there was just some post I was reading on something the other day, and it's like these actors that think they're becoming into the MCU, and like they'll say, "Oh my, it's so fun to be part of the MCU," and then they don't realize that it's just Sony, and then they're just like, you can see how disheartened they are that it's just not, they're not joining this amazing cast full of characters. It's just, you're saying Sony now.
That's the small print. Always read the small print. They're just desperate to get this Sinister Six film made. But the way that I see it going is like, if Sony have their ways, we've got to get a Sinister Six film that's like the Suicide Squad, where it's just a group of baddies who, for some reason, are doing something good. And I'm just like, I don't need that.
Yeah,
just let them be dicks. It's the best thing about them.
Exactly. Talking of the dude, then obviously I can't remember his name, unfortunately, but yeah, the dude who played Quicksilver, he played Pietro in Age of Ultron, and obviously prior to that, Kick-Ass.
Aaron Summer.
We'll talk Kick-Ass.
I like Kick-Ass.
I thought it was good. I thought it was a great. The first one, I can't really remember the second one that much, but it was a good film.
The second one had Jim Carrey in it.
It did. He was. What was his name?
Like, Colonel something, was it? He supposedly hated that movie in the end, didn't he?
He didn't support it in any way, shape, or form. He didn't hype it up. He was atrocious by the amount of violence in it. Apparently, it's like, dude, it's a sequel. If you're signing on to do a film, watch the first one. The second one's not any more violent than the first one was. Know your source.
Did you see what the director's response to that quote was as well? He was like, I made an action movie that was too violent. That's like telling a porn director there's too much nudity. He was over the moon. He was like, that's the best endorsement for this movie I could possibly have.
Thank you very much. But yeah, second one was good. It was enjoyable. The first one, though, I thought was just awesome. It just kind of came at the right time. It was riding the waves of, the comic book fans. And it was different enough and it was violent enough to make it stand out.
Yeah, definitely. I think it gave it that sort of that. It's very much, I sort of see Kick-Ass as the teenage angst of all comic movies. It's just like, yeah, we fucking love it. Yeah, just break each other's legs and stuff. It's just like you don't see the. It's like imagining like the aftermath of like something like, I don't know, Age of Ultron. And there's just people just laying with like broken limbs and just like, I just totally changed those films up.
Nick Cage again, though. That's his third time that we've mentioned Nick Cage doing this. I think he might have to sponsor this episode with a picture of Nick Cage somewhere. But obviously, as Big Daddy, aka Batman, Nick Cage was boss.
Yeah, it'd be. I'd like them to. I don't know how they do it, but just to sort of carry that story on a little bit, maybe. Now that he's a bit more grizzled and he's a bit more older, like the actual Kick-Ass actor, I've forgotten his name, but I'd just be very interested to see how they tell it now. Like years have gone past, and I don't know.
Yeah, we call, yeah, because you can imagine him just being battered and bruised and bitter. I think it'd be I'd be interested in like a kick-ass plus 10, like a 10-year look at the shit he's been through over the last 10 years and the mental effect it's had on him. Because as we said in those films, dude, it's brutal. Shit happens.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a good chat. Hopefully, when Craven fails, you might go back to being kick-ass. That could be his safety net.
Yeah.
Isn't he James Bond now as well, though?
No, I don't even know who's next Bond is, to be fair.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, that's his name. Definitely didn't just Google that while you guys were talking. But
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of like trailers that I've seen recently. The only one recently that I've seen is Joker, the second one.
That looks great.
Some of the shots alone in that, I think that ending one where Gaga's drawing the lipstick on the thing and it just merges that alone, like I'd just pay money just to see that scene. It's great. I am a bit worried that it might turn into a bit of a musical, but at the same time, like I like the way that they're taking this sort of mini little Joker universe thing because it's very different to how they've normally done it. And they've sort of recovered from the stain that Jared Leto left on Joker, so I'm very happy about that.
I love the first film. I still stand by it. Doesn't need to be to me, it's just a film about a dude with a mental illness. It's just purely called Joker to get eyes on the on the product, which obviously makes a business point. But he's not Joker. I always like to think of him as being Heath Ledger's inspiration. He's not the Joker. He inspired the Joker.
Yeah. I did think for a little while that they were going to link that up with the latest Batmans that they brought out because they're very sort of time similar. And I thought it's edgy enough to sort of mix them together, especially if you give it a bit of time for him to sort of grow up. And then have Robert Pattinson's Batman in there as well, even if it's like just as a little passing. That would have been. I thought that's the direction they were going with it, but I'm just kind of glad that they haven't at the same time. I kind of like its whole little universe thing.
But again, it's another bad guy. He's taking the lead role, and is he kind of being played for sympathy? Is he kind of being portrayed as, he's the leading man. He can't be the bad guy. He's the lead dude.
I think it very much depends on your previous experiences, doesn't it? Like I liked different Jokers because they all like embody a different element of the Joker, kind of to speak. But I feel like this one, I showed Nuala it, and she said her sister went to go watch it, and she was like, "I know he's a bad guy, but you almost come out of it feeling bad for him." And I think the thing is, he's the most relatable one. It like Heath Ledger was just an anarchist. Jack Nicholson was a gangster, whereas this guy is a guy that has been like, left behind by society, basically. And like when the therapist is like, they're cutting us, they don't care about you. I felt like there's a hell of a lot of people that are in them cinemas that basically had that conversation almost and been through it. So it did make him a lot more.
But to me, yeah, Joker's like the ultimate bad guy for me, though. So again, I love the films. I just don't. To me, like you mentioned Killing Joke earlier, man, Joker is such a nasty guy. To do what he did to Barbara in The Killing Joke. That's not somebody I want to feel sympathy for.
It's not. Like I said, I think obviously it's nice that it kind of takes a step away from that because it's just a different aspect of Joker. Like in Joker and everything, he's got. Maybe he is mentally ill. Obviously, he's a bit insane. He's got obviously some personality issues and whatnot. And this is just focusing on one point of that. At the minute, it's focusing more on that mental state and how society is, and people do get left behind with and not listened to and underappreciated with these type of mental illnesses and whatnot. And it kind of harks on that. And it's great for doing so because it does show you that obviously that the like Brad said, like people are in similar situations to that, and it shows that it brings it to the forefront.
Definitely, I think put a spotlight on that. I mean, it was a great film. It just didn't need to be the Joker. That's my take on it. But if it gets more eyes on the product, it gets the point across. Yeah, okay, I'll take that hit. I understand that.
Question though, obviously, just going from this, Joker as himself. Would anybody want a live action Joker? Because I know, obviously, me, I grew up watching the animated series. I love playing the Batman games, and the voice is Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
So, would anybody want a live action version where Mark Hamill does actually play the Joker?
No.
Not one bit.
No.
I think if he managed to get down to like 0% body fat to play a really skinny, crippled old version of himself, then possibly. But I think he's a bit too pot-bellied to be like for that role. But I
didn't want to go there, but yeah.
For me, like I loved Arkham. Like he for me is like one of the best Jokers, and I don't think he gets enough credit for it. He's one of the best Jokers.
Well, he definitely agrees. Well, I've got him. But I've got a Joker sleeve, and it's like, yeah, I recognise the Mark Hamill Joker.
Nice.
So, talking about the slight sidebar connection, he also did the voice for the Hobgoblin in the 90s Spider-Man cartoon.
He did. He's done so much that people really don't like. It's just Luke Skywalker. It's like, no, he's not. He's the Joker. He
was in the Flash.
I feel like he's in that category, isn't he? Of like, there's like Henry is another one, like nerd icon. Carl Urban is kind of an underrated one because a lot of people don't realize just how much shit that guy has done.
Red, Thor, Boys, amongst other things, but that's like the top three.
Yeah. For me, there's test footage as well. I think before what happened to him, God bless him. There was going to be a Tim Curry Joker at one point.
Yeah. And
there's test footage of it somewhere, and I'm like, that would have been a thing of beauty. I'm mad. I think he's great, Tim Curry.
Defoe as well. He's another guy that always, it seems obvious.
Yeah.
You know, he was great as a Green Goblin, but that smile, man, he don't even need makeup. He's just born. He's got Joker's smile ready made.
That dude is terrifying naturally. I don't know what it is. He is just terrifying.
The eyes. He's got very scary eyes.
When I was a kid, I was scared. He scared the shit out of me. I loved the Spider-Man movies. Like, Spider-Man is the first cartoon I properly remember watching, like the 90s one. So I was like, when the movie came out, I had web shooters when I was a kid. My grandparents bought me like silly string web shooters, and then realised it was a very stupid purchase for a 5-year-old, and told me that they stopped making refills for him. It's only when I got to about 8, I just realised, wait a second, they just didn't want me to have them. And then I was like, yeah, do you know what? Fair. If I had a kid that age, I wouldn't buy him fucking silly string web shooters. But the Green Goblin was up there as like when I was a kid, that was one of the things that like genuinely made me uneasy. It was that Chucky and the snake in the second Harry Potter movie where it comes out the mouth.
Again, though, Sam Raimi, you put somebody like Defoe in the hands of Sam Raimi, dude, it's going to be terrifying.
Yeah, I do like when it's hard for me because I sort of like people carrying through the role until they can't do it anymore. I don't like how many times now where there's been, we're going to start it again. We've started it again now. Look, there's the I get it in certain points where you get like, the Flash has been a bit naughty, the actor, but I get why you have to do it then. But like when there's no rhyme or reason for recasting someone, I'm like, why? Because there's so much more you could build with that one actor because it's a familiar face.
The only plus side is eventually, we got all 3 Spider-Mans in one film.
Yeah.
But
there are downsides, aren't there? Like Henry Cavill is the poster child for getting recast when he should not have been.
Yeah. It's like now for me, he's been like, I've never really been a Superman fan. But Cavill Superman is like, he is Superman. I don't see anyone else taking that role, to be honest. And it working as good as he made it work.
He will forever be jealous of Riviera, though. Riviera.
I was never a big fan of the Affleck Batman either. I just can't stand his face. I think he just looks Marty all the time.
That's Batman. Batman is Marty. He's meant to be Marty.
Not that extent.
That was a bold statement about Cavill, because I think that's an age thing. Because for me, Christopher Reeves is Superman. You know, Cavill looked awesome. You know, he looks absolute boss. Hated the films, but Christopher Reeves is and always will be, you know, Superman to a certain generation, maybe.
Yeah,
just carbon dating yourself there.
Yeah. Oh God, no, definitely. Yeah, hugely. I did that when I mentioned Mark Hamill being in The Flash, the '90s TV series. Probably nobody else even knows it existed.
Oh mate, I know. The difference is though, I remember that, you know, that really bad Flash TV series. Well, actually, the first season was okay. Was it about 10 again? Like in the 2010s, like around the time Arrow was done, they did the Flash series with Grant
Austin.
He appeared in that.
Yes,
so that shows my age, because that's what I thought you were on about.
Oh no, I was on about the one in the '90s. He was the original Flash in the '90s. That's why they brought him back in as like a nostalgia thing, you know, like they like to do. They just plenty, and that's why they brought Mark Hamill back in as the Trickster, because he was originally in it in the '90s.
I tell you a film that it is sort of a film that they brought out recently, Marvel side of things, that I'm so glad that I have Disney Plus, because I don't have to go to a cinema anymore. I just have to wait a bit. But when they dropped Werewolf by Midnight, because it's such an obscure character that I remember reading books of, and I'm just like, oh shit, they've done it. And I just like the Swamp Thing at the end of it. I'm just like, yeah, that's cool.
Like I say, it's very obscure, but yeah, the fact that, you know, somebody thought, yeah, we'll do this, and it's like, okay, cool, thank you.
Got the Halloween special. I love, like, for a start, I love that it's called Jack Russell. I think that's fucking great. But like, it's now that obviously their catalogue of characters is endless now. It's so big, and whether or not they bring everyone into Secret Wars or whatever they're going to do is going to, like, for alone, like Moon Knight as well, that's just going to be immense. But yeah, I just obscure ones like that. Like, I've always liked Moon Knight as well. I've always thought he was a really cool obscure one.
Thought that was done really well as well. That was so different compared to your normal comic sort of book stuff. Touched on it earlier with like Joker, you know, just a guy being able to play, like, you know, just different personality. Oscar, whatever, can't remember his surname, but yeah, the guy who played
Isaacs.
That's it. Oh man, he played it so well. I don't think he gets enough love for that show. I think by that point people are starting to get burnt out.
Yeah, it's weird, because obviously now they've introduced like all the gods into it as well, and obviously Thor Love and Thunder's very hit and miss for me. Like, I enjoyed it. I think it's an enjoyable film, but as a Thor movie, it's like you're just trying to just make him too daft and funny now.
Ragnarok had the perfect balance.
Yes.
And then I kind of gave Raiti too much rope in the fourth one, and he went too far with the humor. It's still a film, but Ragnarok was the peak.
Maybe a controversial opinion, but to be fair, you know, when you say about the Thor movies, Ragnarok was the only really decent one, because I didn't think 1 and 2, well, 2 was dreadful, but I didn't think 1 was great. The third one was the first one that I was like, that's actually a really good movie.
Yeah.
No,
I don't mind. Go on, Valour.
No, I agree. Like, the first one was all right. I enjoyed the first one. It was a good introduction, but yeah, the second one were naff. Third one really.
And it was pretty much for me, like Ragnarok was pretty much another Hulk movie because they have to use that little loophole where it's not a Hulk movie, so they can keep the same actor. One that I thought fell on its arse is like She-Hulk. I really wanted to like She-Hulk because I like I like her in the comics, but I thought the TV show just flopped like massively in comparison to what they were bringing out. I felt like it was rushed quite a bit.
I enjoyed it. I just think, because obviously, yeah, you know the comic books. You know she's very much of that Deadpool sort of style. You know she breaks forth, or it's all meant to be very tongue in cheek. I think they tried to get that in the TV series, but it didn't quite work. And the end was just like, what the hell? Right, okay, forget the fourth war. This is the fifth and the sixth war. You've just smashed it down, and you've just given up.
Yeah. And again, it's like with the TV series they're doing, I think it's a blessing and a curse because you obviously can get other characters in on a smaller budget into this universe, but at the same time, when the film comes out where you've got Daredevil in it and you've got She-Hulk and then Hulk's son, it's like, oh, where's Hulk's son come from? Like, unless they do a retelling or sort of make you aware to watch these series before you get to the film, it's not going to make sense to a lot of people. And that links back to what we were talking about earlier, where it's with the Flash. It's just like, if you don't get these references and you don't know these people, you're going to believe in going, who's that?
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's a thing you kind of hope, you know, that they'll mention something for the fans that don't watch the series, but I think they are very reliant on people just being like, right, we're going to watch this, this, and this. You know, even I'm a diehard comic book fan. Even I'm getting burnt out. I had this conversation with somebody recently where, up to a certain point, Marvel films were must see. Marvel TV shows were must see for the first few, like WandaVision, Falcon, things like that. But even now, like you said, Alex, just glad I've got Disney Plus. I haven't been to the cinema to watch a Disney Marvel film since Doctor Strange 2. I just wait for them to drop on Disney now. I'm like, there's no real urgency. They don't know what they're doing. Me, as a fan, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what the direction is anymore, so I'm not overly invested.
No, I think it's now, again, love that they're bringing them all and linking them together. I think it's really cool. But at the same time, it's like, are you going to understand the new Deadpool for those fans that just like, you know, oh, I'll stick Deadpool on with Ryan Reynolds? Are they going to understand the TVA references? Are they going to understand the whole time thing? Because if you've not watched Loki, you're not going to get it. And I think Loki was brilliant. It was, at times I was like, this is just Tom Hiddleston's Doctor Who. But I think the last couple of episodes in the last season just like made it for me. When he started using his powers again, I was like, well, that's what I wanted for the whole thing.
Series 2 was a lot better than Series. I enjoyed Series 1, but it was slow in places where it didn't need to be. But Series 2 just flowed, man. It was just smooth.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I feel like they've sort of given this sort of love to Loki, where it was sort of just seen as, because everyone started to love him towards Endgame, and then they killed him off. But
Ragnarok really, wasn't it, where you kind of got that cheekiness?
Yeah.
I feel like this is the first time that Marvel has had a stranglehold on, like, DC does animation better usually. Like, as a rule, like, their animated movies tend to be a hell of a lot better. But live action, Marvel had a real stranglehold on since Iron Man. And I feel like after Endgame, I noticed in myself, like, yeah, I do prefer DC, but some of my favorite characters are Marvel. Like the first comic book movie I ever watched was Blade. Granted, I didn't know it was a comic book movie, but like to this day, that's still one of my. I've got him tattooed on my knee. That's how much I love Blade. But I feel like I'm noticing a pattern with a lot of people that you speak to, that it just feels like people are almost a bit tired out of Marvel. And I would say, like, this is the time that if DC wanted to challenge, now is the time, opposed to, because Justice League's failing more than anything was the blueprint was there with the Avengers, like how many of the introductory movies they did. Whereas when it came to doing Justice League, they just went, here's 4 characters you never really heard of. There you go. And I just like to say, I just think Marvel seems to, I mean, all the stuff with not knowing who the big bad is in the next era obviously doesn't help. But I also think it's the typical American thing in it. Like, they recast actors. They'll do a series for like 20 seasons, but by the time you get to like season 10, it's none of the original cast. And I kind of feel that's the problem with Marvel now. Like, people are invested in Tony Stark, in Steve Rogers, and now they're just gone.
They've had to eventually. That's the problem. I think because obviously it takes so long for the films to come out. You know, you could tell by Endgame, Downey Jr.'s he looks visibly a lot older than he did in the first Iron Man film, kind of thing. And it's a tricky one. But then again, you know, do you keep milking it for the same characters, or do you take a chance and introduce new characters?
I think they fell into the trap though. Sorry, Brad. Like they kind of like oversaturated. Like when Endgame finished, they were like, and like, oh, Disney Plus. So that means they need to start churning out an episode a week, or reintroduce all these characters again and give them all backstories and what they did in the interim between all these things. And that just means that you have to watch every film in sequence and then all the side stories and the episodes all over again just to understand what's happening in the next film. They painted themselves into that corner, and that's why people are burnt out. They got oversaturated.
Yeah. There's way too much Marvel stuff. And I love Marvel, but I think there's way too much stuff at the minute. I like that the taking the route with recasting Captain America and sort of giving it to Falcon and sort of being like, he's the new Captain America. But there's so much stuff. Like, I can't wait for the next Blade to come out with the Sons of Midnight. I feel like that's going to be potential for some really cool stuff in there. And then it's like they were setting up Kang to be the next Thanos, like the really big baddie. Feel like they confused a lot of people with having him be lots of different people, and it being like, well, okay, you're just doing what Ultron kind of did. And like, I know Age of Ultron's not many people's favorite. Like, it's one of my favorite Avengers films is Age of Ultron. I love it, but it's like are they recasting Kang, or have they killed that off? Like, there was lots of stuff about them bringing Doctor Doom in and he being the big baddie for the next couple of films. But it's I feel like they've built up Endgame so strong, and then it's like, well, what? How can we top it? What do we do to make it to top it, other than tackling the multiverse, which is what they're doing now? But how confusing is that going to be? And then what do you do after that? Like, who's the next big baddie for you to do then?
Galactus.
Oh, that was the one in my mind. Yeah.
I mean, they could still go the Galactus route because they're trying to rush in. Well, they're doing a Fantastic Four, which I think they've confirmed the casting for now, which I kind of like.
They've bombed it twice though. Like, in all fairness, come on, I know you laugh, but like the first film, like when it was all right. It wasn't anything great. Second film, Silver Surfer, again, it was all right, nothing brilliant. And then it's like, oh, we're scrapping that. We're going to do a remake with all these new guys in it, and it's shite. And then it's like, yeah, we're not going to bother with a second film because we know it's shite. So we're going to reboot it all over again.
Bro, I was like 7 or 8 when them Fantastic Four movies came out. I thought they were fucking awesome at the time. I thought it was the coolest thing.
Yes.
I like the original.
Chickless.
I was 7 years, and I watched them again. It was like 2 months ago, and go, God, these are shit.
Johnny Storm, man, you know, he did good. He grew up to be Captain America.
That's the best thing.
Yeah. Hell yeah, love it.
Right, we mentioned Blade a minute ago. I'm not going to include the third one because that's nobody's favourite. But Blade 1 or Blade 2, which is the best one?
Two.
One.
Everybody's 2?
One. I'm gonna go on.
What?
I like Blade 2. I think Blade 2 a bit more than Blade 1, but they're both just incredible anyway.
Yeah. I think both of them are a bad film. I think Del Toro's visions and things in 2 just took it up a notch. Ron Perlman, the cat from Red Dwarf, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
And we're not saying that number 3 is amazing because it's got Triple H and the dude from Prison Break in it.
And the blueprint for Deadpool.
And that too.
And the Vampire Pomeranian.
Where's my dog?
It's like
I've watched it so many times purely for Reynolds. I've just got
yeah.
And Jessica Biel. Not gonna lie.
It's like it seems to be there's like a really weird part in time where they were bringing out really like not obscure, but they were really strange films. Like I love Origins Wolverine.
Oh, great.
See, I like that, but then like it
Until
just seems
last
to
10
be
minutes.
really odd. Like halfway through, it's just like, what's going on? But I think X-Men needs. Obviously, the new series has come out, and I've not got round to watching it yet. I know you have, Nick, a lot. I've seen your tweets, but it's like I can't wait for Marvel to do it properly and give X-Men the Avengers treatment.
Yes, that's when people are going to get excited again. When the X-Men turn up on the live actions, that's when the fans are going to get hyped again.
I like how they're introducing them alongside the people we know. So then it's like, okay, so you've watched this film, but here's this character that you may not know. And then like they've been bringing Beast in slowly into other films. I think it was at the end of the Marvels. I think he's in the end credits for that, which it's a shame because it's the Marvels, but. I just once they fully get their hands on it, and whether or not they keep the original sort of, not the older cast, but the original sort of cast with I've forgotten her name now, Jennifer Lawrence and all that lot, Matthew,
Nicholas
whether
Hoult.
they keep that or if they just recast them.
Yeah, well, it was Kelsey Grammer won it at the end of Marvels as opposed to Nicholas Hoult. So that's a tie back to X3. But I just think as well, you've got the potential now to have an actual awesome Rogue on live screen. Now, Carol Danvers is in the universe. You can have a Rogue. If Brie Larson doesn't want to do any more Captain Marvel films, not an issue. Have Rogue Comatose. We get a flying Rogue who's an absolute badass like you do in the cartoon. Jobs are good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what would get me excited as well. Like Logan is probably my favorite Marvel movie. Other than, like, say, Blade is up there as well, but I almost don't class Blade as like a Marvel movie. I know it was, but Logan for me is like not just as. I feel like you've got a lot of movies that are good superhero movies, and then you've got very few that are actually just incredible movies. Like I showed Nuala Logan about a week ago, and she cried at the end, like when she turns the cross on his grave into an X. And they kind of touched on it a little bit, but they didn't really flesh it out and expand it properly. Old Man Logan, like I'd love them to do something with that and bring that universe in properly, like where the super villains have taken over the United States, and you end up with like Hulkland, the Kingdom, Red Skulls, like things like that. I think that would be something a bit different as well, like a different take on it.
That'd be sick.
That would work really well as a TV series.
If anything, I'd make it animated, to be fair. Like I think that'd be like a really sick animated show.
Yeah. It's like, and I've like I need to get into The Boys, like just to bring that topic into the conversation, because I feel like it's got that similar sort of edge to it. It's very sort of gritty, and I got into sort of I've not watched it, so I've not found the time to sit down and watch a new series yet. But I've looked into a lot of the Homelander stuff because a lot of people were comparing Cody to doing it, and like comparing the characters, I'm like, that would be such like he's such an interesting character as Homelander.
Is Superman if he was just a massive melt, just a narcissist.
But yeah, all I remember is a baby with laser eyes.
Oh, yeah, we're not talking. This was a baby laser gun in one scene. Carl Urban again just absolutely bosses it. Obviously, for the fans of the comic books, Simon Pegg turns up in it a few times. Who the original illustrator says Huey was. If you've ever read the book, Huey looks very much like Simon
Huey
Pegg.
was based on Simon.
Yeah.
So they wanted him back, but then Simon Pegg turned it down because of his age. But I mean, I always said that like Cody was like home, like the gimmick was there in AEW because it was almost like I've never known someone so heelish that wouldn't accept it. However, on the other hand, like who would steal their gimmick from a comic book?
Just won't even think about it, would you? It's just totally like. So
anyway, idea
that. But yeah, highly recommend. I thought Jensen Ackles was boss as Soldier Boy. Well, that was just the thing is about the boys. If you're a comic book fan, you just get all the little characters. That person. Obviously, the Deep is Aquaman. There's so many uncomfortable scenes with the Deep where you're just literally like, oh my days, seriously.
Yeah, the Gill scene wasn't good, was it?
Oh, it's just talking to sort of some things in the shops. You're just like, oh, it's just disturbing. A-Train, obviously the Flash, physically running through people at great speed. You're just like, dude, this is just brutal.
I think as well, like, there's another one that it sort of sits on the same caliber, and I'm sorry if I get it wrong, but Invincible, the animated one.
Really fucking good, man.
Yeah,
that's something that I need to start watching as well because I see a lot of stuff on that, like a load of stuff on TikTok at the minute where they're bringing in sort of not rip-offs, but there's like a Spider-Man character that they brought in or something like that for a sneak little peek in the newer seasons. But like, there's just like that side of things where I need to sort of delve into it a little bit more because they look really cool.
Definitely, yeah, highly recommend Invincibles. I think they're both Grant Morrison creations, aren't they? If I'm correct, I'll look into that. Either Garth Ennis or Grant Morrison, I think, did The Boys and Invincible. That's why the similarities are there. It's just very much just that dark. What if superheroes were, arseholes, basically?
Yeah,
they're both really good. Like, I mean, so I tried to own both apart. The Boys she got and she enjoyed. The funniest thing is, if you want to introduce it to someone, don't tell them about the certain scenes. So I'd be at work and I'd get a message and be like, he's just crawled inside someone's penis. What the hell are you making me watch, Brad? What the hell is this? Like, she had a nervous breakdown, especially, is it Love Sausage, that character? She was absolutely terrified. And then I tried to get her to watch Invincible, but she was like, it's too noisy and loud. It's not good. And I was like, oh, no, it is incredible. It's really good.
I feel like the Boys would do you know the whole thing where it's like, oh, Endgame would be easy if Ant-Man just shrunk down and went into Thanos. I feel like the Boys would just be like, oh, no, we'll do that. Why not?
Yeah. Yes, most definitely. There's a scene from, I think it's the third series or second series, which again is meant things go in every possible entrance throughout the three series. It's just craziness. And yeah, it's one of those shows where if somebody catches you talking about it that's never watched it, they will generally just look at you and be like, what? No, right, okay, no, get away. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Dude, right, gentlemen, I've just clocked the time. I said I would keep you for an hour. Mr. Valour, just briefly, I'm going to close on this. You told me about Berserk, wrestling Macbeth in comic book form. I just want to quickly hit about it.
So I found these just randomly while I was in, I think it was in Manchester or somewhere, York, actually, I was in York. And Berserk is basically, it's done by Keanu Reeves. The character's based on Keanu Reeves. And basically is like a a prehistoric badass that is mercenary and he can't die, basically. I have it here. It looks fucking brilliant. And it's a great read. It's a brilliant story. And it's fantastic. If you ever get a chance to read it, pick it up and read it because it's brilliant. The other one, and this is what my partner always laughs at, because somehow I always find wrestling in anything. Which
I
is
can vouch for that.
Unit, like about the comic book Do a Powerbomb.
Yeah.
And then randomly we were in the same shop, and I looked at this thing and I was like, "Oh, Crimson Cage, that sounds cool." And it's actually a wrestling version of Macbeth.
Oh, that's sick.
And I'm like, I have to pick this up. It's got all characters that's based off like Ric Flair, Aja Kong, Bob Orton, fucking just everybody, and it's insane. It's brilliant. And I'm just like, how have they made a wrestling version of Macbeth into a comic book? And I need to fucking buy it.
That's it. This episode is sponsored by Crimson Cage. If you anything from this episode, go on Amazon, go to your local comic book shop, and dig it up, buy it. I'm sure it'll be awesome. Gentlemen, I totally lost track of time. Apologies. But no, thank you all for obviously joining and just talking comic books. So if you'd like to plug your socials, feel free.
Go on, who's going first?
Go on, Alex, you go first.
You go, 'cause I can never remember mine.
Nice and simple. Just search Axl the Klown on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, or X. I keep calling it Twitter. It's X now. Just Axl the Klown on there. And if you want any merch, we've got some drops coming very soon. I've got my Muppet Axl the Klown shirt dropping very, very soon. So keep an eye on my socials for that. And then the rest of the Freak Show as well. So Freak Felicia and Gentleman Jim Maguire, wherever you can spot us.
Nice. Mr. Valour, I'll let you go.
I'm on William _Valour _PW on Instagram, William Valour on X and on Facebook. You can find me pretty much on any of those platforms. I'm always posting on Instagram. That's the main one I normally go on. But hopefully you can see me at some shows fairly soon. I'm looking to get some merch done, which will be awesome. But yeah, catch me on there.
Speak to the Fast Count boys. They do good merch.
They've contacted me. We're in talks about getting some stuff done. Don't you worry.
Mr. Butcher,
have you remembered your socials?
Yeah, I have now. So it is. Mate, I'm shit at social media. It is Butcher Grimsby on Instagram and TikTok, and on Twitter it is Grimsby Butcher. In terms of, because everyone's doing it, merch, we have got there's a run of hack and slash t-shirts out now, which people are miraculously buying. So yeah, and BWR tends to be the main place you can see me at the moment, but hopefully other places soon. I hear Tidal's got a tag tournament, so hopefully.
Have they?
They do. Alex, man, you got me hyped. I thought you'd released actual puppets of Axl.
No. I mean, I could do.
I thought actual puppet.
No, we've got. It's a design we've done ages ago. When we were, I'm not going to ramble on, but I'm really into the Muppets, so we was like, let's do a Muppet shirt. We've got that, and then we've got a revamp of the Freak Show shirt, but Jim's now included as well. But it won't be on a black tee because everyone sells black t-shirts.
Black is the best.
Oh, shocking! You're just breaking all the rules. Just like, no, got to be a black tee.
That's it. So that's as much as I'm going to tell you about that.
Awesome.
We're going to get in trouble, man, because I think we're the two pushing merch that isn't done by Fast Cow.
It's fine.
Hey, Fast Cow wants to draw a clown. He can draw a clown. It's all good.
If he doesn't, I might. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Honestly, apologies for keeping you so long. I've just totally lost track of time, but thank you for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe, share, comment, do all the normal sort of stuff. Join us later on in the week when we are joined by Tilly Heatwave. It's going to be some episode. Looking forward to that one. Gentlemen, thank you so much. And I'll speak to you all again soon. Goodbye.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.